Listen to me carefully, my dear brother, my dear sister. I know how heavy the air in your home can feel sometimes. You walk through the door, and before you even sit down, there is a weight. Not physical, you cannot measure it. You cannot show it to a doctor. But you feel it in the silence between conversations, in the sudden tension that rises over small things, in the restless sleep, in the quiet anxiety that follows you into every room. You try to fix it with better routines, with cleaner schedules, with more control, with louder laughter, with longer hours. But the weight remains, and slowly you begin to wonder if peace is just something other people get to keep. Let me speak to you with complete honesty, and let me say this with the tenderness of someone who has sat with families just like yours, who has watched marriages fray from unseen friction, who has seen children absorb tension they were never meant to carry. You are not failing. Your home is not cursed. Your heart is not broken beyond repair. You are simply living in a world that forgets to protect what matters most. And the Quran did not leave you defenseless in that reality. It gave you a shield so simple, so profound, so easily overlooked, that millions recite it daily without ever feeling its full weight. That shield is Surah An-Nas, the chapter of mankind, the final chapter of the Quran. 6 short verses. But within those verses is a spiritual architecture of protection that covers your home, guards your heart, and shields your family from whispers you cannot see but deeply feel. This is not superstition, this is not ritual magic. This is divine strategy. And when you understand it, when you recite it with presence, when you align your home with its wisdom, you will notice something shift. The air will lighten, the tension will soften, the whispers will lose their grip. And peace, the peace you have been chasing, will finally find a place to rest. Stay with me until the end, because today we are not just going to recite words, we are going to awaken to their power. We are going to understand why your home feels heavy, why your heart feels restless, why your family feels strained. And we are going to learn how Surah An-Nas becomes your daily armor, your spiritual hygiene, your anchor in the storm. Let us walk through this together with honesty, with clarity, and with the gentle authority of divine wisdom. Before we can protect, we must understand what we are protecting against. Islam teaches us that human beings do not live in a vacuum. We live in a world seen and unseen. And in that unseen realm, there are whispers, not loud voices, not obvious attacks, but subtle, persistent, quiet intrusions that shape our thoughts, our moods, our reactions, our relationships. The Quran calls them whisperers, not monsters, not dramatic villains, but whispers. And whispers are dangerous precisely because they are quiet. They tell you that you are not enough, that your spouse will never change, that your children will never understand you, that your efforts are wasted, that peace is for other people, not you, that you should just accept attention as normal, that you are overreacting, that you are too sensitive, that you should just keep going without healing. And slowly these whispers become your inner voice. You stop recognizing them as foreign. You stop believing they are yours. This is not just psychology. This is spiritual reality. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught that shaitan flows through the human body like blood. Not to possess, not to control, but to influence, to suggest, to nudge you toward doubt, toward resentment, toward isolation, toward despair. And when you are tired, when you are stressed, when you are carrying unresolved grief, those whispers find open doors. They do not break in. They slip through the cracks you have left, unguarded. Modern life has made this easier. We live in a culture of constant stimulation, endless, and whereas notifications, breaking news, comparison feeds, financial pressure, social isolation, masked as connectivity. And in that environment, the heart becomes a crowded room. Too many voices, too little silence, too much input, too little reflection. And when the heart is crowded, it cannot discern truth from suggestion. It cannot separate divine peace from human noise. It cannot tell the difference between a genuine concern and a manufactured anxiety. But Allah does not leave you to navigate this alone. He gives you a refuge, a place to step back into, a declaration to speak that realigns your spirit with His authority. Surah An-Nas is not a charm. It is a compass. It does not erase your struggles. It gives you the spiritual posture to face them without being consumed by them. It does not promise a life without whispers. It promises a heart that no longer belongs to them. Let us look closely at what this chapter actually says in plain English, so you can feel its structure, its rhythm, its protection. It begins by calling upon three divine attributes, each deeper than the last. First, I seek refuge in the Lord of mankind. Second, I seek refuge in the King of mankind. Third, I seek refuge in the God of mankind. Do not rush past this. The progression is intentional. It moves from creator to authority to ultimate worship. Lord speaks to your origin. King speaks to your present reality. God speaks to your eternal devotion. And in that movement, you are reminded that your protection does not come from blocks, alarms, positive affirmations, or human advice alone. It comes from the one who brought you into existence, who governs your current circumstances, and who deserves your complete surrender. Then comes the core request from the evil of the retreating whisperer. Who whispers in the hearts of mankind? From among jinn and mankind. Notice the specificity. The whisperer is described as retreating. Why? Because whispers are not permanent. They come, they linger, they disturb, but they leave when confronted with light. They retreat when met with remembrance. They shrink when you stop feeding them with fear, with overthinking, with isolation, with unresolved anger. And the target of the whisper is clear: the hearts of mankind. Not your bank account, not your career, not your social status, your heart. Because if the heart is disturbed, everything else becomes heavy. If the heart is at peace, everything else finds its place. Finally, the source is named: from among jinn and mankind. This is crucial. Islam does not teach you to fear unseen forces while ignoring visible ones. The whisperer can be a spiritual influence, but it can also be a person, a toxic relative, a critical friend, a dismissive colleague, a social media voice, a family pattern, a generational wound. All of it whispers, all of it enters the heart, and all of it must be met with the same refuge. Surah An-Nas does not ask you to live in paranoia. It asks you to live in awareness, to recognize that not every thought is yours, not every fear is truth, not every tension is permanent. And when you seek refuge in the Lord, the King, the God of mankind, you are not running away. You are stepping into alignment. You are declaring that your heart belongs to Allah, not to anxiety, not to human noise, not to inherited pain. Your home is not just a physical space. It is an emotional and spiritual ecosystem. Every word spoken inside it leaves a trace. Every unresolved argument lingers in the air. Every sigh, every harsh tone, every silent resentment, every forgiven mistake, every shared prayer, every moment of laughter. The home remembers, and when whispers take root there, the atmosphere becomes heavy. Doors slam over small things. Children become irritable without knowing why. Spouses feel distant even when sitting together. Guests sanction the moment they step inside. Surah An-Nas is a spiritual cleanser for the home. Not because the words carry magic, but because they carry. Meaning, when you recite them with presence, you are not just speaking sounds. You are resetting the spiritual temperature of your space. You are declaring that this home is under divine protection. You are removing the invisible weight of gossip, of comparison, of unresolved conflict, of generational bitterness. How do you apply this practically? Start small, but start consistently. Recite Surah An-Nas together before sleeping. Not as a ritual, as a rhythm. Let it be the last word spoken in your home before darkness falls. Teach your children to say it with you. Let them hear your voice soften as you speak it. Let them feel the shift in the air. This is how you build spiritual immunity in the next generation. Lower the volume of conflict. Islam does not forbid disagreement. It forbids destruction. When voices rise, pause. Step away. Breathe. Return when calm has returned. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that anger is from shaitan, and fire is extinguished with water. So, when anger rises, make wudu, wash the face, the arms, the head. Not just physically, spiritually. Let the water remind you that you are a servant, not a slave to emotion. And then return to the conversation with dignity. Replace gossip with remembrance. Homes that thrive do not discuss other people's failures. They discuss their own gratitude. They share blessings. They pray for neighbors. They speak well of those who are absent. This is not naive. This is protective. Because what you repeatedly speak becomes the atmosphere you breathe. Create a sacred corner, not a shrine, not a performance, just a quiet space, a prayer mat, a few verses written clearly, a place where family members can sit, breathe, recite Surah An-Nas, and reset. Let it be the emotional anchor of your home. Let it be the place where heavy days are handed over to Allah. Your home does not need perfection. It needs protection. And Surah An-Nas is the daily shield that keeps the atmosphere clean, the heart soft, and the family grounded. The heart is the battlefield, not because it is weak, but because it is open. It receives inputs constantly. News, messages, conversations, memories, fears, hopes, regrets, expectations. And when it is unguarded, it becomes a storage room for other people's opinions, other people's timelines, other people's definitions of success. Surah An-Nas protects the heart by naming the threat. Psychology teaches us that naming a fear reduces its power. Spirituality teaches us that seeking refuge in Allah dissolves its grip. When you feel anxiety rising, when comparison steals your joy, when doubt whispers that you are falling behind, do not fight it with more noise. Pause. Place your hand on your chest. Whisper Surah An-Nas slowly. Feel the words, I seek refuge in the Lord of mankind. I seek refuge in the King of mankind. I seek refuge in the God of mankind from the evil of the retreating whisperer, who whispers in the hearts of mankind from among jinn and mankind. Do not rush it. Let each line settle. You are not begging, you are aligning. You are reminding your nervous system that you are not alone, that your heart belongs to a protector who sees what you cannot, that the whispers are not yours to carry, that they will retreat when met with light. Pair recitation with breath. Inhale slowly, exhale fully. Recite one line, inhale. Exhale, recite the next. This is not meditation for emptiness. This is remembrance for presence. Your heart slows. Your chest lightens. Your mind stops racing. And in that quiet, truth returns. You remember who you are. You remember whose you are. You remember that your worth is not tied to productivity, to applause, to visibility, to human validation. It is tied to your Creator. Journal the whispers. When a thought feels heavy, write it down, then write the truth beside it. Whisper says, you are failing. Truth says, I am learning. Whisper says, they will never understand. Truth says, Allah knows my intention. Whisper says, you are too late. Truth says, Allah's timing is perfect. This is not positive thinking. This is spiritual realignment. You are training your heart to filter input through divine wisdom, not human fear. Guard your consumption. What you watch becomes what you worry about. What you read becomes what you ruminate on. What you listen to becomes what you repeat in your head. Curate your inputs like you guard your prayer, not out of restriction, out of respect for your heart. Your heart is too valuable to be used as a dumping ground for other people's chaos. Surah An-Nas does not erase pain. It gives you the posture to carry it with dignity. It does not promise a life without whispers. It promises a heart that no longer belongs to them. Families do not break from sudden disasters. They break from slow fractures, unspoken expectations, unforgived mistakes, unaddressed wounds, unprotected boundaries, and children absorb it all. They may not understand the words, but they feel the atmosphere. They learn tension before they learn trust. They learn silence before they learn safety. They learn to walk carefully before they learn to breathe freely. Surah An-Nas is a generational shield. When recited with presence in a home, it teaches children that protection does not come from control. It comes from connection to Allah. It teaches spouses that peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the presence of forgiveness. It teaches the family that they are not alone in their struggles. They are held by a Lord who knows their names, a King who governs their days, a God who hears their quietest prayers. How do you build this practically? Start with language. Replace criticism with curiosity. Instead of why did you do that? Try, what were you hoping for? Instead of you never listen, try, I feel unheard when we speak over each other. Words shape reality, and reality shapes family. Forgive before sleep. Do not let the sun set on unresolved tension. This does not mean forcing closure. It means releasing the need to be right in that moment. Say quietly, "Oh Allah, I place this conflict in your hands. Soften our hearts, guide our words, protect our bond." Then sleep. Let the morning bring clarity, not carryover. Teach children early, not through pressure, through rhythm. Have them recite Surah An-Nas with you after dinner, before school, before travel. Let them feel your hand on their shoulder as you speak it. Let them associate the words with safety, not obligation. This is how spiritual immunity is built, not through lectures, through lived experience. Protect your unity from outside noise. Relatives will have opinions, friends will have advice, society will have expectations. Not all of it is harmful, but not all of it is protective. Filter it through this question: does this bring us closer to Allah or closer to anxiety? If the answer is unclear, set it aside. Your family's peace is too valuable to be negotiated in the court of human opinion. Celebrate the small victories. Did you speak kindly after a hard day? Celebrate it. Did you forgive quickly? Celebrate it. Did you recite Surah An-Nas together without distraction? Celebrate it. Protection is not dramatic, it is daily. It is quiet. It is consistent. And consistency outlasts chaos. Your family does not need a perfect home. It needs a protected one. And Surah An-Nas is the daily rhythm that keeps the foundation steady, the heart soft, and the future secure. Recitation without presence is like watering a plant with an empty cup. The motion is there. The outcome is not. Many Muslims recite Surah An-Nas daily, yet still feel heavy, still feel anxious, still feel unprotected. Why? Because they recite with their lips, but not with their presence. They treat it as a checklist, not a conversation. They rush through the words, but do not rest in their meaning. Presence changes everything. Presence means you slow down. You breathe. You feel the weight of each line. You let the refuge settle. In your chest, before moving to the next, you do not count repetitions. You cultivate connection. How do you build presence? Start with understanding. Read the translation slowly. Let each phrase sink in. I seek refuge in the Lord of mankind. What does Lord mean to you right now? Creator, provider, source of your breath. Let that truth anchor you. I seek refuge in the King of mankind. King means authority over your current reality. Your job, your home, your children, your health, your finances. He governs it all. Let that truth calm you. I seek refuge in the God of mankind. God means ultimate devotion. Your heart belongs to Him alone. Let that truth free you. Visualize the protection. Not with superstition, with sincerity. Imagine the words as a gentle light surrounding your home, your heart, your family. Not a wall, a shield, not isolation, alignment. Let your mind rest in that image. Let your nervous system respond to the truth, not the tension. Consistency over quantity. 3. Mindful recitations are worth more than 30 rushed ones. Allah does not measure your devotion by speed. He measures it by sincerity. He measures it by presence. He measures it by the quiet moments when you choose to remember Him instead of reacting to fear. Pair it with action. Recite before entering your home. Recite before sleeping. Recite when anxiety rises. Recite when tension builds. Let it be your spiritual pause button. Let it be your daily reset. Let it be the bridge between chaos and calm. Surah An-Nas is not a spell, it is a sanctuary. And sanctuaries are not entered by rushing. They are entered by slowing down, by breathing, by believing, by trusting that the one who taught you these words is the same one who will protect you through them. Let us pause and address the heart of the matter. Protection in Islam is not about living in fear. It is about living in conscious trust. It is not about building higher walls. It is about anchoring deeper roots. It is not about controlling every variable. It is about surrendering every outcome to Allah. Modern culture teaches us that safety comes from visibility, from validation, from control, from constant monitoring. But Islam teaches us that security comes from sincerity, from remembrance, from presence, from trust. When you shift from fear-based protection to faith-based security, everything changes. You stop checking locks 5 times. You start checking your heart once. You stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios. You start reciting divine refuge. You stop trying to manage human opinions. You start trusting Allah's timing. This is not naive. This is mature. This is not passive. This is empowered. Because true security does not come from controlling the storm. It comes from anchoring in the one who commands it. Surah An-Nas does not ask you to ignore reality. It asks you to face it with alignment. It does not promise a life without whispers. It promises a heart that no longer belongs to them. It does not erase your struggles. It gives you the posture to carry them with dignity. It does not remove tension. It teaches you how to dissolve it with presence. When you recite it daily, you are not performing a ritual. You are practicing trust. You are training your heart to seek refuge before seeking solutions. You are teaching your family that peace is not found in perfection. It is found in connection to Allah. You are declaring that your home, your heart, your family are not left to chance. They are held by the Lord, the King, the God of mankind. And when you live that truth, you will notice it. The air will lighten, the words will soften, the children will breathe easier, the spouse will lean in instead of pulling away, the heart will stop racing, the mind will stop rehearsing, the whispers will retreat. Not because they are gone, but because they no longer have permission to stay. My dear brothers and sisters, your home is not just a building, it is a sanctuary. Your heart is not just a muscle, it is a compass. Your family is not just a group, it is a trust. And Allah did not give you Surah An-Nas as an afterthought. He gave it as armor, as rhythm, as refuge, as daily protection against whispers you cannot see but deeply feel. Do not wait for the heaviness to become unbearable before you seek refuge. Do not wait for the tension to fracture your bond before you recite with presence. Do not wait for the whispers to convince you that peace is impossible before you anchor in divine security. Recite it slowly, recite it sincerely, recite it together, recite it daily. Let it be the last words spoken in your home before sleep. Let it be the first words whispered in your heart when anxiety rises. Let it be the rhythm that guards your marriage, shields your children, softens your chest, and returns your life to you. I pray to Allah, the most merciful, the most wise, the protector of hearts, to fill your home with peace that outlasts tension, to guard your heart from whispers that do not belong to you, to shield your family from generational friction, from unseen anxiety, from inherited pain, to make Surah An-Nas not just words on your tongue, but refuge in your chest, rhythm in your home, and security in your daily life. If this reminder touched your soul, please share it with someone who needs spiritual protection today. Subscribe to Light Upon Light Islamic Reminders for more content that strengthens your faith, calms your heart, and guides your steps. And remember, you are never alone in this. Allah sees what you carry. He hears what you whisper. He knows your intentions, and He will protect your home, your heart, your family in ways you cannot yet imagine. May Allah grant you conscious trust, daily presence, and a life anchored in the refuge of the Lord, the King, the God of mankind. Ameen.